Will Behren Morton play this weekend against Oklahoma State? We've got the latest reporting from Pete Nakos, as well as what Joey McGuire had to say at his weekly presser leading up to the Oklahoma State matchup, as well as Kriby Hocutt taking the podium before Joey McGuire, discussing the recent events for Tortilla Gate, as we're calling it here on this channel anyway. What's to come of the tortilla tradition out at Texas Tech? Hint, it might be over. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Hope you're having a great day on this Monday. We're going to need to pour one out. We're going to need to pour one out. No, not for the health status of Behren Morton. I'm not trying to scare anybody on that front. No, the tortilla tradition is over. It's over. And this is, if we're being honest about it, we knew this was going to be the outcome after this just weird rule the Big 12 put into place. It is what it is. Texas Tech, as an institution and an athletic department, really had no choice in the matter in terms of what they needed to do. And another great college football tradition, and don't come at me in the comments, other fan bases saying this isn't a great tradition. It is, even if it's a little unique and you don't understand it. It was a great tradition. It sounds like it's over, as Kriby Hocutt announced that tortillas will no longer be allowed at Texas Tech games, and they won't be encouraging tortilla toss at the start of games any longer. He went on to say that this Texas Tech team has a unique opportunity, and one that a lot of Texas Tech teams wish they had, in the sense of being able to compete for a Big 12 title. They don't want that to be ruined by tortillas, so they are taking a firm stance that this is no longer a thing at Texas Tech football games, and they will be searching and being sure that there is a policy in place in terms of, if you are caught, you will have your tickets revoked for the remainder of the academic and athletic calendar. And not just at Texas Tech football games. No, you won't be allowed at basketball games, baseball games, and everything in between. So a firm stance by Texas Tech, and one, unfortunately, that is the right choice by the athletic department. And kind of sucks to see another tradition go to the wayside in college football, but I guess that's just the world we live in now. All right, let's get to the updates in terms of what could potentially impact Texas Tech in this roster going into the Oklahoma State game. As you know, the major question right now for Texas Tech football is Behren Morton going to play against Oklahoma State? Let's go ahead and look at the latest Pete Nakos update on that front. He said earlier, before Joey McGuire took the podium for his Oklahoma State weekly presser, sources tell On3 Sports that Texas Tech quarterback Behren Morton remains day-to-day and will be reevaluated this week. He was limited in practice last week and was available in an emergency role. Expect a decision on the starting quarterback versus Oklahoma State later this week. Obviously, it's worth monitoring. Like I said, I think there's a lot of avenues you can go here. But before we get into that, Joey McGuire did say that Behren Morton has done some running in various settings, whether that's the underwater treadmill, some other aspects of runnings that doesn't allow the leg to take on the full weight. They're making sure that they're playing this right. And 100%, that's the way they should be doing it, right? Because you need Behren Morton to reach your ceiling this season, which, again, my expectations for this team has not changed. I think this is a Big 12 championship team. I expect them to still be playing in Arlington, and I expect them to make some noise in the college football playoff. That game against Arizona State doesn't change that, in my opinion. Now, this is where the interesting part comes into play on Behren Morton's health, okay? Because I think that there's really two camps here, and I can see both sides, truthfully. One camp says, hey, we don't need Behren Morton this week against Oklahoma State. Just start Will Hammond. You're going to drum them anyway, right? And send them back to Stillwater with an L and probably close to damn near 50 points. I mean, shoot, the spread is 37.5 right now. There's the other camp, which, by the way, I am on this side, where if Behren Morton is close to 100%, you play him. And the reason being is this: I don't want Behren Morton's first game action to be in Manhattan, Kansas next weekend in 2 or 3 weeks, in the sense of he has not played in live game reps in 2 or 3 weeks, and then you just throw him to the Wolves in Manhattan, a place where, if you're a Texas Tech fan, you know you haven't had a ton of success in recent memory, right? Do you really want that? No. So this is what I would love to see. And again, this is even if he is healthy enough to play. Just play him 4 or 5 series. Treat this like a non-con game against Kent State. And I'm not trying to bash you, Oklahoma State. I already know you're down bad crying at the gym already. But that's what Texas Tech needs to treat this like, a non-con game specifically for Behren Morton. Play him for 4 or 5 series. Let him go out there, get that rapport with his teammates he needs in live game action and live game reps. That way, he's a lot closer to where he needs to be against Kansas State the following weekend and starting a 2-game stretch for Texas Tech where you are easily playing the 2 hardest teams remaining on your current schedule, which is Kansas State and then BYU at home. You need Behren Morton to be as close to 100% as possible. This is not a dunk on Will Hammond. I think he's going to be a superstar. But again, we've talked about it ad nauseum here on this channel. If Texas Tech wants to get to where they should be with the talent level on this roster, you need Behren Morton, period. End of story, okay? That doesn't mean Will Hammond can't win you a football game here and there, right? But I truly believe if you had Behren Morton at Arizona State, you win that football game. But the biggest, and I mean biggest priority for the Red Raiders right now is to get Behren Morton as close to 100% as possible. If that means that he has to miss the Oklahoma State game, so be it. In an ideal world, I would want to see him play 4 or 5 series. Then he can rest the remainder of it. Will get the remaining snaps in that football game, and Behren Morton has some game reps under his belt over the past 2 or 3 weeks leading into a Kansas State game where, again, you haven't had that great of success if you're Texas Tech over the past quarter century, okay? I think that that's the ideal situation if you are Texas Tech football right now. Maybe I'm off base there. Let me know down in the comments because I think that that is the best course of action for Texas Tech. You need those live in-game reps, and you don't want to just throw them out there into the fire that is Kansas State. Again, Kansas State may not be as good as a lot of people thought they were going to be. That being said, it is still difficult as hell to win up in Manhattan, Kansas. And you don't think that they're going to want to prove to Texas Tech that, hey, we're still talented too, right? Again, Texas Tech is still the hunted in terms of they are no longer trying to, find their way in terms of, oh, we've got this game on our schedule. That's the team that everyone's chasing in the Big 12. You are still the team that everyone is chasing in the Big 12 because if we're being honest about it, yes, the standings say otherwise in terms of Cincinnati and BYU, but Texas Tech is still the odds-on favorite, minus odds, to still win the Big 12 title, okay? You need Behren Morton to do so. I don't think I'm breaking any news there. But again, the breaking news for Texas Tech football, and I shouldn't even say breaking news, just the injury update for Behren Morton going into the Oklahoma State matchup is he is considered day-to-day, and the Red Raiders will make a decision on QB1 in terms of who will start for Texas Tech against Oklahoma State in a rivalry game where the Red Raiders are favorited by north of 35 points. Last I checked, it was 37.5. Maybe it's updated at the time of you listening to this, but I still think the ideal situation is Behren Morton at least plays some snaps in this matchup against Oklahoma State. That way he's ready to go against Kansas State and hopefully the week after against BYU, where that could be a game for a Big 12 title spot, if we're being honest about it. We'll see how it goes. But again, that's the biggest update right now for Texas Tech. And again, the tortilla tradition, it's donezo. It's kaputs. Texas Tech has had a hard stance on that, rightfully so. I get it. I wouldn't want to pay $100,000 for somebody to throw a tortilla onto the field. I'll be honest about it. Sucks at the end of the day that tradition's gone, but that's the world we live in right now. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button to join over 13,000. Yeah, you heard that right. 13,000 Red Raiders here on the largest Texas Tech YouTube channel, and the Red and Black Report. It's 100% free. I can't make it any more free. I tried. They told me no. So I tried it. I asked for you guys, but they said no. So again, hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the know on everything Texas Tech football and men's basketball all year long, whether it's on the gridiron, the hardwood, the portal, high school recruiting. And oh, by the way, we'll have a recruiting video out later this week for Texas Tech football as they once again have the #1 overall player in the class of 2027 in the latest updated rankings, according to Rivals. We'll discuss that later on in the week. But if you want to stay in the know on everything Texas Tech, 100% free, this is the place for you. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Reckham Tech.